All right, today we're diving into a real classic, Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. We're going to distill his timeless strategies for finally breaking free from those invisible forces, the ones that hold so many of us back from real success.
But first, I want you to think about something. What do you believe is really holding you back? I mean, is it your job, the economy, or, if we're being totally honest with ourselves, is the biggest obstacle, well, something inside? That's exactly what we're getting into today, the real source of our own limitations.
Now, to find that source, we've got to meet the main adversary. And hey, don't worry, this isn't about to get all spooky or supernatural on you. Napoleon Hill was just using a really powerful metaphor to describe the true enemy, the one that's already inside.
So, Hill's devil? It's not some dude with horns and a pitchfork. Nope. It's a way of talking about those nagging voices inside our own heads. You know the ones I mean. It's that fear that just freezes you in your tracks. It's that procrastination that's always saying, I'll do it tomorrow. And it's that crushing self-doubt that whispers, you're not good enough. These are the very things that are actively sabotaging our success. But here's the really cool part. This is not a battle you're destined to lose. Not at all. Hill's entire point, and it's a big one, is that once you see these tactics for what they really are, basically just bad habits of thinking, you can actually build a solid strategy to beat them.
So, what's weapon number one in our arsenal? It's having a clear mission. Hill had a great name for it, a definite purpose. Think about it. Without one, we're kind of like a ship without a rudder, just drifting. And that makes us a super easy target for all that doubt and distraction.
Okay, so how do you get one? The process is surprisingly straightforward, but it is incredibly powerful. First up, self-reflection. You got to ask yourself, what do I truly want? Then you have to get specific. A vague wish like, I want to be successful, just won't cut it. It needs to become something like, I am going to launch my own business within the next year. And the final step? You write it down. That simple act makes it real. It makes it tangible. It becomes that rudder we were talking about, something to guide you through any storm.
Okay, so our mission is set. Now we move to the next battleground, our own mind. This is where the real day-to-day fight goes down, and it's exactly where we can gain the upper hand by taking control of that story we tell ourselves.
This is where we really get tactical. Think of it like a counterattack. When those negative thoughts pop up, you hit them with positive affirmations. So instead of, I don't know if I can do this, you actively choose to think, I am totally capable, and I have a clear plan. When fear and self-doubt start creeping in, that's your cue for daily visualization. See yourself succeeding, feel what it's like. And to fight procrastination, you build a positive environment around you, one that naturally pulls you forward, filled with people and ideas that lift you up.
Let's zoom in on fear for a minute, because it's one of the devil's absolute favorite weapons. So what was Hill's advice? First, drag that fear out into the open. Write it down. Just acknowledging it strips away so much of its power. Next, take your goals and chop them up into tiny, manageable steps. This builds momentum. And this one is so important, you have to reframe failure. It's not the end of the road. It's just a lesson, a piece of feedback on your path to success.
Now, here's something you really need to hear. You do not have to fight this battle alone. In fact, you shouldn't. Hill's next big idea is all about getting your allies together, creating what he famously called a mastermind group. So how do you actually build one of these? Well, first, you've got to find your tribe. Look for people who are on a similar wavelength, people with similar goals and values. Then you have to meet up regularly. Schedule it. This is where you share progress, bounce ideas off each other, and, this is key, hold each other accountable. It's about celebrating the wins together and figuring out the challenges together. That shared energy, it becomes like this powerful force field against self-doubt.
All right, let's do a quick recap. We've defined our purpose, we're working on mastering our mindset, we've even built a support system. But honestly, all of that is pretty much useless without the final, and I mean most crucial piece of the puzzle.
And Napoleon Hill said it perfectly. Knowledge is useless without action. I mean, you can have the world's greatest plan and the most positive mindset on the planet, but if you don't actually do anything, nothing changes. Inaction is literally the devil's playground.
Step 1. You need an action plan. Create that roadmap. Outline the exact steps you need to take. This turns your big, dreamy goal into real things you can do today, this week, and this month. Step 2. Stay committed. You have to show up, consistently. The real commitment here is to take at least one tiny step towards your goal every single day.
And listen, especially on the days you don't feel like it, that's actually when it counts the most.
And finally, step 3, reflect and adjust. You got to be flexible. Check in with yourself regularly, what's working, what's not, and be willing to change your plan based on what you're learning. Just remember, success is never a perfectly straight line. It's all about making those constant, small course corrections along the way.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint for outwitting those inner forces of fear, doubt, and procrastination. You know who the enemy is now. You have a clear purpose, you have the tools to master your mindset, and you know that action is the key that unlocks everything. The strategy is laid out for you. So, the only question that's left is this: who wins the battle for your mind?